Well, good morning guys and welcome to the vlog. We are at the Escapers Convergence here in Lake Havasu City and hooking up with Sean from Battle Born Lithium Batteries.
Yeah, our company is actually called Dragonfly Energy, but our consumer brand is Battle Born Batteries. So we're out here this week kind of meeting up with some of our customer base and meeting some new customers that are interested in using our Battle Born Lithium batteries on board any kind of vehicle.
We are planning a trip around the world in this vehicle and lithium batteries are on our list. You know, we have 520 of solar on the roof, but we just want to make sure this truck is dialed in while we're still here in the States before we head on over to Europe. And lithium batteries are pretty high on the list. Okay, Sean, so this is a 2007 Mitsubishi Fuso Expedition truck, and it's a very unique creature. But our batteries the current ones are right down here.
Yeah, it looks like you got 3 lead acids down there.
Yeah, so 3 AGMs, and I'm not gonna lie, they're 3 to 5 years old. You know,
Okay.
we're the third owners of this rig.
Right.
So I've heard that there's some potential challenges for putting lithium batteries right there.
Typically don't want to put lithium batteries outside. It kind of makes me cringe even seeing any battery outside like that, just exposed to the elements. Usually you have some kind of a box around it, but you know, your lithium batteries they cost a little bit more money. You want to protect them. You want to keep them inside if you can, and also they do have some temperature concerns, which I want to let you know, these batteries do also. Your AGM batteries are going to run at a severely diminished capacity below freezing. Mm-hmm. Our batteries are at a diminished capacity below freezing also. They won't take a charge below 25 degrees, but they still will discharge. So having them outside, if you're going to drive this rig around the world, I want to recommend you put the batteries inside. Yeah. That way you don't have any worries.
I'm not saying that we have the space, because we don't have much space in this box, but let's show you, where the infrastructure of our electrical system is. So right down here under our dinette is where most of the components and infrastructure lie. What do you see in here that obviously there's room for batteries?
Sure, you have plenty of space for the batteries in here, and then it'll protect them from the elements, because if you and Rebecca are living in here, it's probably never going to be below freezing in the vehicle.
Yeah,
we just recommend that you keep the batteries above freezing at all times. That way they just work fine. They never end up shutting off. But your TriStar Morningstar MPPT controller works great with our batteries.
Okay.
And then this is just a standard pure sine inverter here.
It is. It's a very basic inverter.
It'll work fine. There's some other parts we're going to put into a system which you can evaluate once you do the install, but everything, it looks fine to me. It looks like it will drop right in.
Okay. So then over here next to our 12-volt refrigerator, down there is the, what do we have?
Oh, is that your Xantrex charger?
That's our Xantrex charger.
Yeah, that we're going to swap out for a Progressive Dynamics converter, which will charge. It's designed to charge lithium batteries. But there are some things that if we have an opportunity to tune a system to make it work as effectively for you, we're gonna take that opportunity. Okay. But if you do have a component that will work with our batteries, we will absolutely let you know that. That way you can save money and not have to buy that new part. And we do that every day at our office.
So let's show you the rest of our system so you can assess on how many batteries do we need, because I know our vehicle is totally different than most RVs. But let's just show Sean what we have and how many batteries we might need. So I showed it earlier, but that is a 12-volt refrigerator. And then over here, we have a Wallace 12-volt diesel cooktop. So the 12-volt fires a circuit board, and the heat comes from diesel fuel from our tanks. And then right here on the floor is one of the vent registers, and that is a very low voltage 12-volt fan, and we'll take it to the heater here in a sec. On the minor end of things, there's obviously a water pump, LED lights scattered throughout the camper, and then that's a very basic 2,000 watt inverter. And then up top here we have one of those max fans. So right here in the back of the camper is where our heating unit is.
So it's fueled by diesel, but the electronics are just a blower, and then like the electronics of the furnace. So it uses very little power actually.
Yeah, this, like I said, this vehicle has a very low footprint, and that's an SPAR hydronic heater. So it will also block heat our engine as well on cold nights. Okay, we are back inside the truck, out of the wind. So what do you think about our systems? I know I'm not a guru or anything, but I think we have a pretty small footprint.
You do. This is literally a tiny home on wheels. Thanks again for inviting me into your home. It's a beautiful little home. If anyone's ever not gotten a chance to see the inside of one of these Mitsubishi Fuzos, they got pretty creative, whoever built this thing. And I know Ben and Rebecca are the third owner.
Yeah.
But I think it's a neat vehicle, and in my opinion, based on the fact that you have the 2,000 watt inverter, I would think that you're going to need a minimum of 2 batteries for that. Since you're going to drive the van around the world, you guys are kind of different than a lot of people. So, as we know, right, for sure, definitely. We know people that have done this before, though, right? Personally, each of us have encountered people that have done it, and we know that the challenge is it's always a good idea to have more storage power.
Redundancy.
Right, redundancy. Yeah. So I'd recommend you get 3 batteries for this rig since you got room for them.
Yeah, and I think we even have some room to spare as well.
I think that's a good idea because with some of the things we have planned in the future, we have talked about upgrading to a 3,000 watt inverter. And if you said it's like 1,000 watts per battery kind of thing?
Yeah, pretty much.
So if we want to leave room for some growth, I think.
And we also have talked about the possibility of getting a very small roof-mounted, low-profile air conditioner for the cab, and having the potential, I'm not committing to anything, of with a soft start being able to run air conditioning off the batteries.
Yeah.
That sounds like a great idea. I know it's totally possible. We'll have to talk about the inverter for that.
Thank you so much for being here at the Escapers Annual Bash. Battle Born and Dragonfly Energy, they are very active in the RV community. They didn't have to be here.
Nope.
You guys are here sponsoring the event, but you're also here going around to everybody and just talking, doing assessments, and just being part of the community. And that's a big thing.
That's one of the I appreciate you saying that, and thank you for recognizing that we really try to be a part of this community. The RV community and the escapees and the escapers convergence have embraced us as part of your community. So thank you for that. If anyone out there is watching from this event, we've had a blast. It's been a great time. And we've met so many interesting people. And and like you said, we had an opportunity to come around and do some personal consultations with people, which is always a good thing. It's always a good thing to help someone understand what's actually happening in the power system in their RV and what the shortcomings of it are. And
I think that's really important with lithiums too, because I know everybody has questions, like, well, how many should we have and how much does it cost and what else do I have to buy with it?
It's very new technology.
So having you come out and actually be there and talk in person, I think it lends just a lot of comfort.
This new technology
moving into new technology
at a price point where you don't have to be like on the space shuttle to install it. Everyday people are now installing lithium.
One of our batteries costs less than an iPhone 10, just so you know. So it doesn't, and an iPhone 10 doesn't come with a 10-year warranty.
And I was going to say it doesn't have the lifespan of an iPhone 10.
So give us a shot, take a look. It's not as expensive as you think, and over time it adds a lot of value to your experience, and that's why we're out here to kind of educate people about how we change that experience of boondocking, or even just staying in the parking lot overnight. You don't want to deal with that battery anxiety. You don't want to be wondering,
battery anxiety.
Is my heater going to work all night? Is my heater going to work all night? And then if you want to get...
There's nothing worse than waking up in the middle of the night to that beep.
I've taken pills for BAS before.
Yeah.
They have a lot of side effects, but I'm looking forward to not suffering from BAS anymore.
Yeah, so yeah, we're, just... take a look at our website. We're working on a new thing coming in 2019. We'll be able to do live video consultations for sales over the telephone.
Nice.
So keep an eye out for that. We're launching a new website in the next couple of months, and there'll be a place there where you can schedule an appointment with us and get one of our sales pros to help you understand your system and what we can do to help you make it better.
That'd be great. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button. Check out Battle Born Lithium Batteries, Dragonfly Energy, and stay tuned because it sounds like we're going to be installing some lithium batteries here within the next week or so. Pretty excited, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.